It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley. Wednesday. Let's do it. Gary, how are you?
Things are so stupid.
Yeah?
I mean, just stupid. I guess I had to start paying attention to what's going on in popular culture yesterday. And, the whole the actress Sydney Sweeney and the jeans ad, the American Eagle. First off, though, every time I hear American Eagle, since I don't buy their products, I think of the airline. And that messes me up to begin with. But the supposed controversy of the jeans ad that she has done, where she mentions, that jeans are passed down from, your parents or whatever, and talks about hair color and other things, which are decided by your genes. And then the camera gets up close to her and shows her blue eyes, and she says, "My jeans are blue." And then she's wearing these jeans, and the other commercial, she's, walking across, and she's under the hood of a car, and they're a little tight. But I will say this, because we had the discussion the other day about Jasmine Crockett. About bursting out of her jeans. Her jeans were as tight as the Seinfeld episode when Kramer put the jeans on, if you remember that one.
Yeah. And
this thing, this is to show you that the left is not going to change. The left is, there's accusations that this is a pro-Nazi ad, that it is a white supremacist ad because she's white and attractive, and talking about jeans means she's talking about white superiority and white supremacy or whatever. It's just gotten to the point of being completely and totally ridiculous. I looked at the ad and said, okay, there's a couple ads, but the one ad where, she talks about jeans being passed down, and I look, okay, she's doing what you see in jeans ads, for example. She's showing plentiful cleavage. You got to have cleavage. Even though the jeans aren't related to the cleavage, you got to have the cleavage in there.
Well, you want to make sure the jeans fit.
I meant the cleavage on the top end, not.
I did too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not the plumbers.
Well, no,
the plumbers' cleavage.
Look, you try the jeans on at the store. That's the first thing I do in the mirror in the changing room. Check my cleavage.
I'm not going to look over there. You just said that. I will not look over there. I'm not going to look over there.
Yeah.
We're going to give Frank Costanza. You're saying you need a man's ear?
Well, all I'm saying is I just ask one question in that changing room to myself. Are the jeans helping or not?
Well, we talked the other day, because when I watch the ad, I go, well, those jeans aren't nearly as tight as the ones Jasmine Crockett, who is my congressperson, to the enjoyment, for some reason, of so many of our listeners.
Oh, yeah.
By 3 blocks. But, those jeans were, like I said, those were Kramer jeans she was wearing, where it's like, remember, he couldn't move his body. He was he was going back and forth, weebles, wobbles, but they don't fall down. And I was looking at the ad, because I would have never noticed the ad. If the ad would have come on TV, I would have turned it off. Whatever. I could care less. Time to change the channel to something else. But I did notice when I saw it, I go, well, those jeans aren't that tight. In fact, that goes back to the discussion we had the other day, that when you get to our age, or at least I'll say my age, you always look for the comfort jeans.
Yeah.
The ones that are, number one, any type of light material and as baggy as possible. Because, number one, I have nothing positive to accentuate.
Well,
accentuate.
For me, accentuating is painful.
Yeah, Yes, exactly.
I don't want to inflict pain on myself.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it.
So that's rule number 2. Rule number 1, check the cleavage. Number 2,
Right.
don't inflict pain. The people at Kohl's don't get it, but I tried to explain it to them.
Man.
My rules, my criteria for getting jeans.
But I was just and then just reading some of the articles on it yesterday, because like the first couple of days of the controversy, I'm like, I don't care, and then I realized, okay, this is about the left and wokeness and dog whistles on something that isn't there.
Yeah,
The whole thing. This is about Nazism. It's like,
yeah, all right.
what?
Yeah.
And then I'm reading Charles Cook National Review. The fantastically daft meltdown over Sydney Sweeney's jeans. Now, when I saw her, I'm like, I have no idea who she is. I've never seen her in any films. So I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I have no
I
idea.
may have seen her. I don't know the names of these people. I'm only 59, but my brain in that regard works like I'm 89 because I never really have cared much about that, kind of following which actors or actresses are trending. By the way, I guess you can't call them actress anymore. You have to also call them an actor.
Yes.
If they're female. Okay, that's fine. I just don't know them. And is it a good show? Is it a good movie? That's the only thing I care about. And I don't care how the jeans fit, and I don't care what you want to read into it and the controversy you want to drum up.
And I just love this, Charles Cook. It takes a special kind of hysteria to observe a time-tested marketing formula in action and think eugenics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Have you heard about the controversy that is swirling around American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney at present? Yes, that American Eagle and that Sydney Sweeney, the clothing outlet and the actress. Oh, you must. You see, the two of them recently teamed up for a marketing campaign, and together they made an ad in which Sweeney wore jeans and showed off her figure and drove a vintage car and did other Sydney Sweeney kind of things in front of the camera. Unfortunately, though, everything went wrong. No sooner had the spot debuted than it was deemed provocative and offensive and found guilty of sparking debate. And not just about any old thing either. No, sir, the question was presented by Sweeney's new American Eagle commercial, whether or not Nazis are good. You read that right. The national conversation has been bolted to this transient exhibition of denim. And it's about eugenics as conceived within the Third Reich. Swiftly, the ad was released. A handful of people on the internet began complaining that American Eagle had released a white supremacist commercial. And as is often done, the self-licking ice cream cone was swung immediately into action. Some people were you especially will love this one. Some people were talking about it online, which meant that the press was able to write about it as if it were a real story, which meant that opinion outlets were able to get involved with a clear conscience, which meant that the press was able to write about it some more, which meant that other people were guaranteed to talk about it online. And before too long, we had one of those perplexing news cycles that start with a single mind-numbing complaint from the most ridiculous people in the country and end up with daily updates on whether any of the figures who are passively involved in this circus have yet to respond to the allegations of Nazism, of course. Which is, in this case, are that during the course of one of the commercials, Sweeney says, genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue. Fascist! Per Amber Rakin of The Independent, the phrases good genes and great genes have historically been used is language that has historically been used by eugenicists who believe that the human race can be improved by genetically selective breeding. Which, yes, is true, but which is also as self-evident, not relevant to this matter, as the fact that by an amazing conscience, Sydney Sweeney's initials happen to be SS.
Oh, no.
The core point here, the sole purpose of the not especially good genes pun in the campaign more broadly, is that Sydney Sweeney is attractive and has cleavage. Okay, I added that. That's it. That's the game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's painful. I'm having a headache here.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that I see, and I'm like, oh, I don't care. Okay, I guess I got to pay attention to this. And then I'm glad I paid attention to it because it was like, are you kidding me? Really? All right, here we are. Wokeness is not going away.
Yeah, exactly. It's, well.
By the way, their stock went up big time. There's so much because you look at it, you're like,
right.
Stop it. And so it gets,
first of all, this Sydney Sweeney, she looks like a child. She looks like a kid. And she's 27, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you get to our age. Even women in their 30s, you see somebody you see a woman, a very attractive woman in their 30s, and you look and you say, "Oh, what? My God!"
Yeah, she looks 12.
I mean, how old are they?
Yeah,
14.
Yeah.
I'm 33. Oh wow!
I'm reading, her basically her resume in acting, and I haven't watched any of those shows. I'm familiar with them, but I haven't watched them. To that generation, good luck existing. Because you're oppressive in your existence. And I don't care who you are and what your background is. You're the oppressor. You're the problem. How dare you?
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it's just gotten that, it really is that stupid. It really is that stupid. Quite frankly, look, I don't know what the kids are wearing these days, American Eagle, whatever, it's.
What are the kids wearing? What are the dang kids wearing?
Yeah, give me a good old pair of Levi's. That got the job done.
I'm sorry, I'm a Wrangler kind of guy.
It's like I
have no idea
it's never been the case where I said to myself, even when I was young, I got to get to the mall and see what people are wearing so I'll know what to wear myself. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I missed that whole thing. But I don't really get a jeans commercial. We pretty much, it's like toilet tissue. Don't we pretty much understand the purpose of them? Don't we understand what they're for and understand it doesn't matter what they look like. It only matters what they look like on me.
See, I was never too fashion conscious, and everybody knows because I've told the story before of when I had to work 2 weeks at the disco back in the I think it was 76. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I showed up in my corduroy pants and flannel shirt. So apparently I didn't know, and that's when they told me no.
You were grunge before grunge was grunge.
Yeah, I really was. It was just, it was Buffalo. It's it's cold. You wear things to keep warm. And they loved what I did, but said, look, if you're going to stay here, it was called Port Shark. They had a little shark in a tank. And they said, look, if we love what you do and everything else, but you've got to really wear the uniform that we require here, which is leather pants, silk shirt unbuttoned down to the navel, and a gold chain with the shark's tooth at the end.
Yeah, right.
Now, I was just filling in for a guy, but they wanted to keep me there, and they said, but this is basically the dress code we want from the DJ. So
Yeah.
I refused the request.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a no.
And ended up at another bar a couple of weeks later where I played lots of Skynyrd.
Right.
That fit a lot better.
Exactly. One of those
But
bars
yes.
where you go, you guys could just get a jukebox, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but it was more of a rock bar. So I've never been that fascist. Fascist.
Hey! That's what it is.
Oh, my gosh. Not a Freudian slip.
Fascist fashion here.
Slip. Fascist fashion.
Wow. Yeah. It's it really, I'm thinking to myself, don't you guys have something else? Is there nothing else?
They've if this is a controversy, they've run out of stuff.
Well, for me, I look at an ad, and an ad comes across, and it's like, okay, well, does it pertain to me? Am I interested? If I'm not interested, or for some reason the ad just looks weird, or I don't really, care for the ad, I don't get all protesty about it. I certainly don't go out of my way to be offended by it. Grow up.
I saw one review of it was saying, well, I mean, it's ridiculous to begin with because they're giving a false sense to young women out there that if you wear these jeans, then you can look like Sydney Sweeney. Like, well, yeah. Like if I drink a light beer, beautiful women will gather around me.
Right. Or if I wear those sunglasses that Tom Cruise wears, that all of a sudden I'm going to be able to do stunts like Tom Cruise. I'm lucky to make it from the couch to the bedroom.
We've got a great show ahead. 866-90 Red Eye.
Hey there, this is Hope Zavara with Mother Trucker Yoga, and here's your health tip of the day. Healthy driver, healthy diesel, powered by Howes. Lower back pain is one of the most common complaints amongst truck drivers, with over 50% experiencing it regularly. Let's fix that. Sit up tall in your seat. Inhale and arc your lower back away from the seat, like there's a pin behind you you're trying to avoid. Now exhale, round your back, and tuck your tailbone under, just like the shape of the letter C. Repeat that movement 5, 10, even 15 times until your lower back and hips start to loosen up and feel ready for the road. There you go. Small, simple changes can lead to big results so that you, my friend, can feel good again. Visit mothertruckeryoga.com and howesproducts.com for more tips and support.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So I'm searching the internet to see anybody on the left, and I found people on the left that are, standing in front of the Sydney Sweeney signs.
Yeah.
For American Eagle, and just screaming, but they're cursing. Everyone, they're cursing left and right. This is Nazi. This is white supremacy. You boycott her. Boycott American. They're just going crazy. But then there's the funny stuff that comes up, like Trump, the picture of Trump's head.
Yeah.
In American Eagle jeans.
Yeah.
I love that one. But the one I love the most is this cartoon that's out there. And it shows this woman screaming, you can tell, very liberal, woke woman, and there's Sydney Sweeney, just leaning over. You can see cleavage. She goes, if you like that, you're a fascist. The next scene is a little kid coming out of his bedroom looking at his father saying, Dad, he's a teenager, I think I'm a fascist.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. Scanning social media here, looking for any type of pictures, whether it's Japan or Hawaii, whatever, about the tsunami alerts out all over the place in the Pacific, on the West Coast of the United States. After I've seen 8.7 and 8.8 magnitude earthquake near Russia, which could be one of the top 10 strongest earthquakes ever reported.
Yeah, I've seen 8.8 in places and 8.7 in others, but CNN reporting an 8.8 magnitude quake struck off Russia's sparsely populated far eastern coast, and this triggered tsunami alerts, as you mentioned, Gary, for Japan, for Hawaii, also for the west coast of the United States. Los Angeles is preparing for possible tsunami effects. In fact, some pictures coming across. There's still photos coming across from Hawaii. You can see the waves off the coast. They're saying that these waves, they're warning that they could be 10-foot waves. And also in Japan, they're warning that the tsunami effect could happen. The conditions could last for more than a day after the earthquake. Again, I think a lot of this is you look at the alerts that are in Hawaii. The local officials there are telling everybody to seek higher ground. Of course, stay away from the coastline, from the beaches. And you also look at the west coast of the U.S., waiting to see what that effect will be there. But these alerts are critical in getting people to higher ground just in case these tsunamis become especially dangerous. And following this throughout the morning hours here, but an 8.8 is a massive earthquake.
Is. I haven't seen any, because I think you can. What you want to compare it to, or when you look at it, is you don't want to see the kind of devastation you saw in Japan in 2011.
Right.
And I haven't seen any type of video yet like that, whether it's Japan or anybody else out there. You and I were looking earlier at some of the video. You could see the tsunami waves coming in, but they weren't yet, for example, overwhelming streets or communities or whatever.
Right.
So,
yeah. Everything, all the video and pictures coming in seems to be of the waves that are approaching, still offshore, and none of the video is showing, as you mentioned, that breaching the shoreline and coming inland. One of the things that they talk about, one of the things that local officials have said there in Hawaii is that these tsunami waves are approaching during high tide. So then the tide could be higher than normal as a result of the tsunami waves. And again, the tsunamis are, and the effect of them are highly unpredictable. You just want to warn people so that, as you mentioned, you don't have a repeat of 2011 in Japan and other situations where there's just been devastation when it seemed there was not proper warnings in place, or some of the warnings were not heeded by the locals there in those areas. But again, following this throughout the morning hours here, and it is, when you have seen the videos, and they do exist, of tsunamis in the past that have done so much destruction, you see that it just appears that there is nowhere to go in that moment. If you did not go to higher ground ahead of that you're just at that point, wherever that water is going to take you is where you're going to end up.
Trump put this out a couple of hours ago. Due to a massive earthquake that occurred in the Pacific Ocean, a tsunami warning is in effect for those living in Hawaii. A tsunami watch is in effect for Alaska and the Pacific coast of the United States. Japan is also in the way. And as he said, visit tsunami.gov for the latest information.
Coast Guard has ordered ships to leave Hawaii ports until the threat passes from the tsunami. The U.S. Coast Guard has told all commercial vessels to leave Hawaii ports and barred any incoming ships from entering them until the tsunami advisories have lifted. Of course, there have been flights that have also been delayed. They're putting those on hold until, again, the threat has passed. So we're going to watch this throughout the morning hours and see what develops here. But it appears local officials have been able to at least had enough time to get the word out on these tsunami alerts. And hopefully it will be the case that there is not a great effect from the tsunamis. You see the incredible damage done by these massive tsunamis in the past, and it kind of tricks the mind when you're watching the video. It just doesn't look like it's going to be this wall of water. That it doesn't look like it's going to keep going the way that it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it has that kind of power and force behind it, but of course it does. It is. It's really it can be extremely devastating, and certainly locals want those people out of the way, and it seems they have been able to at least had some time to be able to get those warnings out, and we'll follow throughout the morning hours, and whatever comes across, we'll share that with you. Any breaking details about this, but again, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake in Russia on the eastern coast. And so that's again, that's a monster earthquake. One of the concerns would be, too, is that there could be a series of earthquakes after that. The aftershocks of an earthquake can often be within the same range. And that's what you want to look at. And if the first earthquake is causing tsunamis, then you have to be in that. And I think that's the point of the officials in Japan. You have to be on guard for any subsequent earthquakes as a result, also setting off tsunamis.
Well, when you think about it, we remember the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake.
Yeah.
And what that did to Indonesia. And the
Yeah.
footage that you still see, that's still out there today. You go to YouTube and you look at it, and you see it coming in. You just don't think it's going to be what it is.
Right.
And then, because it comes in, it doesn't seem like
tricks the mind.
Right. You look at it, you're like, okay, that's
and
not
then the
that
water
bad.
disappears, and then all of a sudden there's a
Boom.
bigger wave behind it, and more force as the water comes back. And it is, again, it can be, and I think that's, hopefully you look to learn from any situation like that, any natural disaster. You're looking to learn from that. And I think in today's world with so much video and also the alert system being what it is, then there is, the great hope that people are aware of the dangers.
And, the system that's set up now, there should be, as we've seen now, plenty of warning time. But if you're close to where it hits, that was one of the problems with the Indian Ocean one back in 2004. You had the one Indonesian city that was just, 15 minutes away because this thing, that was traveling, the one in 2004, at 500 miles an hour. So it gets there so quick. So when you're talking about, 15 minutes warning, how serious do you take it? I did see some in Hawaii, some of the roads, and they were basically a traffic jam, people trying to get away, from the coast at that particular point.
Right.
But this is something where you just don't know how it's going to hit.
Right.
I can see that if Hawaii isn't hit hard, that there's going to be complaints. Well, you threw this out. You really didn't know how bad it was going to be. Well, you don't.
Right. Yeah, you don't.
You don't.
It's best to seek higher ground and then have to return after nothing happens. It's much better than the opposite and not being able to get out of the way.
How many people died in that one, the Indian Ocean one?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember what was.
But the videos are of that and Fukushima are.
Oh yeah, the
just
Fukushima one. That was
it just makes you because once you see how powerful that water is, I can only imagine being in that moment. Even if you're on higher ground, you're thinking the ocean is just going to swallow this entire area. It looks scary.
Well, you think about it. You think of all the natural disasters, hurricanes and things that you see. We see here in the United States, and in earthquakes and things like that. But the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, 227,898 deaths across 14 countries.
Yeah,
you just don't see you don't see natural disasters. In modern Western society, even earthquakes.
Right.
You don't see that kind of deaths in other areas in third world countries where they don't have earthquake ready buildings.
Right.
You can see more. But you tell me anything where you have 227,000 deaths over 14 countries, and that's where you have the tsunami. And I'm looking at I'm looking at one of the pictures here, and of one of the big waves coming in. It was just a still picture, and there's people looking at it, and you look at it, it's absolutely terrifying because there has to be a moment they're looking at it and saying, "We're not going to get out of here alive."
Yeah.
When it's coming down those streets.
Yeah.
It's like, how the hell do I get out of it?
Right.
How do I get out?
Right.
And then you see I think it was the Fukushima one, where you saw a lot of people that were, for example, maybe on a parking deck, where they were up 4 or 5 stories and looking down upon it.
Right.
That ended up surviving it. And then you think, number one, the tsunami's bad enough. The cleanup for stuff like that, the devastation is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, 227,000 deaths from the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. In Indonesia alone, 167,000 deaths. Wow. And in the Japan tsunami, 19,759 deaths.
Wow.
And it's like, whoa, man. And so, you're on low ground anywhere. You just don't know what's going to happen. But we'll keep you updated on this, and we hope there is nothing because of this.
Yeah, hopefully this will not be a repeat of either of those two. And but you have Alaska, Hawaii, the west coast of the U.S., Japan, all involved in these tsunami alerts. And we'll be following as they expect any effect on the west coast to happen here over the next couple of hours. We're going to be, again, following that in Hawaii. They're already seeing the effects. We just don't know to what extent. Watching some live cam footage out of Hawaii. And, again, it's hard to tell from these cams exactly what's going on right now. But you're seeing that the tsunami waves, again, we don't know how damaging those waves are, but they are hitting Hawaii and that started about 10, 15 minutes ago. So we'll follow this throughout the morning hours as, again, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake hitting the eastern coast of Russia and sending tsunami alerts to Japan, Alaska, Hawaii, and the U.S. West Coast. We will follow this throughout the morning.
866-90 Red Eye.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. We'll keep you updated on the latest on the tsunami warnings across the Pacific. Just looking at some video right here. Most of the video I have is about 45 minutes old, though, from Hawaii, but we'll keep you updated. I saw one photo of these people like on a 100-foot cliff, and it's packed with people looking for the tsunami coming in.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you updated on that. Plus, a new poll out there, the majority oppose local authorities in sanctuary cities blocking criminal deportations. Duh. You see that Wall Street Journal story that AI disrupts entry-level job market for college grads, saying low-level positions right now in companies, even if you're a college graduate, they're not hiring.
Right.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. This 12 minutes ago from CNN, parts of Hawaii's coastline have begun to see the sea level recede as tsunami waves approach the islands, according to live webcams. Multiple webcams from the islands show the water levels dropping significantly in the last hour. The tsunami typically causes the ocean water to recede unusually far from the shorelines before the main waves arrive. It's getting tough, though, looking at the live cams as it's getting dark out.
Yeah, and that becomes a problem. Hopefully, people are heeding the alerts and the warnings there in all of the places that are seeing this. In Hawaii, as you just mentioned, Alaska, the west coast of the U.S., California's Monterey County is now urging people that are living on boats in Moss Landing to evacuate. The Monterey County Sheriff's Office issued an evacuation warning to all people living on vessels in Moss Landing, which is a popular spot for surfing and tourists. The sheriff's office warned that tsunami waves are expected to reach the Monterey County coastline by 12:15 Pacific time, 12:15 a.m. Pacific time. And so they're asking people to evacuate if you're living on a boat there in Moss Landing. There is a small stretch of California's coastline that is under a heightened tsunami risk, according to CNN.com. A small stretch of Northern California's coast is under heightened tsunami risk because its unique underwater geography has the ability to funnel wave energy. What they're saying is an expert from the National Weather Service told CNN there's like an underwater valley that leads up to that area. And the seafloor's shape can act like a funnel, forcing tsunami wave energy into a narrower space as it approaches shore, which makes the waves grow taller and hit with more force. Waves as high as 5 feet are possible Tuesday night from Cape Mendocino up to California's border with Oregon. The stretch of the coast, that stretch of the coast is under a tsunami warning, which is the highest alert level. The rest of the U.S. West Coast is under a tsunami advisory. Looking at USGS and the map in terms of the earthquakes, there were a series of earthquakes where this all was, in fact, triggered by an 8.8 earthquake off the southeastern coast of Russia. But since then, in fact, within an hour of that first earthquake, there were 2 earthquakes in the 6.7, 6.9 magnitude range. The concern would be, again, if the 8.8 set off a tsunami warning for all of these locations. And then certainly any earthquake that follows, which is quite often the case, can be within that range. And if that is the case, obviously would set off more warnings. I think this is behind Japanese officials and why they were telling locals that you should know that this tsunami alert could be in play and there could be a risk here, for a day or so. And you need to make sure that you're heeding the warnings here from locals. And I think that's basically what we're looking at right now play out. So it was looking at that map again at USGS.gov. It has off the southeastern coast of Russia has been very active, but that 8.8 magnitude was what triggered these initial tsunami alerts.
And if it sounds like that officials are extremely concerned about the potential of the devastating effects of a tsunami, it's because it's one of the biggest earthquakes we've probably seen in 100 years. I want to play this audio cut here. This is from Fox News. John Bedelli, USC Dean's Professor of Earth Sciences, here in the last hour on Fox News.
Magnitude 8.8 is, like you said, the fifth or sixth biggest earthquake we've recorded in the last 100 years. It's not a surprise. We knew this kind of earthquake would hit in this place. It's just they only come every few decades. As you said, it moves a tremendous amount of water. Whenever we have an earthquake this big, we'll have big tsunamis. We don't know exactly how big until the waves hit, but as you said, it's enough that they put out alerts on the West Coast, on Hawaii, along Japan. So now we just wait to see what the waves look like.
And I'm wondering, when you say, do we have any kind of gauge? I mean, because they're giving numbers like this thing could be in Hawaii, maybe 3 meters, so 9 feet, a little over 9 feet. Do you think that's an accurate gauge, or do we not have the ability to be able to kind of predict exactly what kind of waves are coming in?
Well, we don't have great precision, but we do have instruments on the seafloor, and we've seen measurements of how big the earthquake is and the initial reports from Japan. So my guess is it'll be a little less than they've warned people about, 3 meters in some of those places. But we do have to evacuate to be safe. And the more the waves hit, the better idea we'll have where it'll, that height it will have the rest of the way along the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably being a little conservative and preparing properly.
There you go.
Yeah, certainly you want to, again, because of the unpredictable nature, you want to get out of the way. And so, again, following this throughout the morning on the West Coast, parts of California under a tsunami warning. And that's, again, expected, those waves expected to arrive and the effects of the tsunami expected to arrive here within the next hour or so. We're going to be following this throughout the morning. And the rest of the West Coast is under a tsunami advisory. But again, Cape Mendocino up to California's border with Oregon is under a tsunami warning. That's the highest alert level. So we'll again follow this throughout the morning hours here, and hopefully everybody has already received the information they need to receive and is taking action accordingly. So the state of Hawaii, parts of Alaska. Alaska's Aleutian Islands and a section of Northern California are currently under tsunami warning, the most severe alert, while the rest of the West Coast is under less tsunami advisory. This is a brand new update to this story coming across from CNN.com. The first tsunami waves have already hit in Alaska, while waves have been hitting. In fact, we've been watching that also in Hawaii. And so we're, again, as we're looking here.
Yeah, I'm looking at, just to interrupt for a second, just looking at some time-lapse videos from Hawaii. seeing the water receding and then coming back. Or going back. I think when it shows it coming back, that's just the beginning of the loop again.
Right.
But yeah, you can actually see it. I got one still picture here and then one video because the water recedes and then comes back again. Looking at other video here, but and this is all here like a half hour ago. But a lot of places it's dark, and looking at one of I don't know if that's Waikiki Beach or Honolulu or whatever, but wherever the video that Fox is showing, it's pretty dark. You really can't see much.
Yeah. So California arrivals are expected to begin around 11:50 p.m. Pacific time, reaching San Francisco Bay around 12:40 a.m. Pacific time, and Los Angeles Harbor around 1 a.m. Pacific time. So we'll be following this again and bring you any updates. But an 8.8 magnitude earthquake hitting off the southeastern coast of Russia, setting off tsunami alerts in multiple places there in the Pacific, Hawaii, Alaska, the west coast of the U.S., Japan. So we'll...
I'm seeing some tsunami waves crash into Japan here. This goes back about an hour ago. You don't see it coming through the streets, but it seems like they're pretty large, hitting the break. It looks like it's hitting a break wall. It's tough because whoever's taking it's up high in a roof. In there, so you can't see the street. But I don't, from what I can see, I don't see any. I just can see one part of the street. I don't see any water coming down it, but it looks, okay. It's hitting the break wall and going over the break wall, but it's not overwhelming. And I say that looking back at when you look back at the tsunami that hit Japan back in 2011 and how that would hit a break wall and then it just kept rising and rising and rising and rising. I don't see it here at this moment from this particular video, which is just a loop, though, of about 40 seconds. So you don't know what happened 10 minutes later.
Right.
They're on it. But, it's keeping you updated on it, and we will continue here throughout the morning, as well as covering all the other news out there. But I'm just looking here if there's any update from CNN and anything.
That was basically the latest just a few minutes ago again, as the west coast of the U.S., is now expected to see those effects here in the next hour or so and continuing throughout the morning, and we'll certainly update you as locals there.
And
give us new information.
And that professor from California who talked about whether what the how high it could be. The tsunami hitting Hawaii, Governor Josh Green told CNN that 10-foot tsunami waves are possible for some of the coasts of the northern Hawaiian Islands. Honolulu's mayor told residents to move to higher ground, and Hawaii's governor has urged people to immediately evacuate coastal areas. It will not hit one beach. It will wrap around the islands. So...
yeah,
and that's what we have right now. And you did the update that the first tsunami, hit the Aleutian Islands already. Yeah, you had that a couple minutes ago. So we'll keep you updated.
Yep.
866-98 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF Fuel Power Max.
Surviving and thriving as an owner-operator has just as much to do with managing costs as it does with generating revenue. Like the chief financial officer of any company, you have to be concerned about rising costs, especially without increases in revenue. Trying to reduce costs, let alone make sense of them, can be a complicated task. Understanding basic principles of operating costs can save you thousands of dollars a year. A penny saved could be $1,000 earned. Saving just 1 penny per mile over 100,000 miles driven annually will deliver $1,000 to the bottom line at the end of the year. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Looking at it here, looking at the NOAA graph for tsunami water levels, Sand Island, the Midway Islands. Over 2 meters of vertical displacement measured at Midway, a huge signal for deep water. Waves like this amplify near shore. That's why they're concerned about Hawaii right now because of those particular things. And looking at some of the maps, how far this thing has already gotten across the ocean.
Yeah.
And it will be, as you said, the next couple of hours hitting the west coast of the United States. How bad? You just don't know for any particular area. You just don't.
Right.
But when you look at the power of this particular earthquake, the displacement that they're talking about, there is, there is worry, especially if you're near the beach area. If you're up in higher ground, I mean, if you're up 20, 30 feet, odds are you're going to be okay.
Right.
But it's just, you probably saw some of the people, the video of authorities going across some of the Hawaii beaches and kicking people off, and some people out there getting ready to surf and all that. And it's just like, I don't think I'd mess with it no matter what.
Right.
But again, that's what we have right now. Let me just see if there's anything else, any type of update here. Here it is, the first waves from CNN just a couple minutes ago. The first waves have hit Hawaii as it braces for potential tsunami waves of up to 10 feet above normal levels. Other countries around the Pacific are getting ready too. Some already directly feeling the impacts. In Russia, the earthquake off the country's east coast damaged some buildings. I saw some of the photos of the earthquake, inside stores, and of course it looks horrendous. Tsunami waves began arriving soon after, several hitting the southern tip of the country's far eastern peninsula. The district has declared a state of emergency, according to state media TASS, citing authorities. Videos show water rushing between buildings, damaging industrial infrastructure, and sweeping away large debris. In Japan, tsunami waves are already hitting many parts of the East Coast, including near the Tokyo metropolitan area. The waves have measured up to 60 centimeters, well below the initial forecast, though, of 3 meters. Elsewhere around the Pacific, many other places have issued tsunami advisories, warnings, and watches, including the Philippines, Indonesia, Peru, Ecuador, Mexico, Panama, and Taiwan.
Water levels were recorded about 4 feet off the northern shore of Hawaii's Oahu Island, according to data. We will likely see levels, the water levels rise and fall as more of the waves approach. That's part of the warning here, and getting the information out by the officials is to remind people that don't become complacent. If you see the waves approach and then all of a sudden the water is receding, that's the tricky part of not knowing, again, what the next set of waves is going to be. And it becomes highly unpredictable, and so it is best just to heed those warnings until that threat is completely gone. So, again, we'll see the effects over the next couple of hours on the West Coast. Parts of California are under a tsunami warning, and then the rest of the West Coast under a tsunami alert, so a tsunami advisory. So we'll certainly keep you posted. Once again, they were talking about here part of the California coastline. A small stretch of Northern California's coast is under heightened tsunami risk because of its unique underwater geography, and it has the ability to funnel wave energy, according to the National Weather Service. The seafloor's shape can act like a funnel, forcing tsunami wave energy into a narrower space as it approaches the shore. And that makes the waves grow taller and hit with more force. Waves as high as 5 feet are possible Tuesday night from Cape Mendocino up to California's border with Oregon. The stretch, that part of the coastline, is under a tsunami warning, and the rest of the West Coast is under a tsunami advisory. We'll follow this throughout the morning hours as more information comes in.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. No update, really, in the last couple of minutes that I've seen. Have you seen anything?
No.
We're talking about the tsunami. We know it has hit the Hawaiian Islands, and from what I can see on the map, is halfway through. But so far, no reports. Just as in tsunami waves. This from CNN. Oahu Emergency Management wrote on X just a few moments ago. Tsunami waves are currently impacting Hawaii. Take action now. That just out here from CNN. But one of the things is you just can't see anything from the cameras right now.
Right.
You just can't tell. And tsunami hitting at night, never a good thing. But everybody really had plenty of warning. That's one thing that I've seen. It looks like anybody who wanted to get out of any area that might be impacted by the tsunami have been able to get out. Now, whether it's going to, what it's going to be, who knows? Who knows how high it's going to be? I saw one part of Russia where they were saying it wasn't going to be bad, and they got hit with 9-foot waves. And they had told them not to evacuate. I was reading earlier. And so you just don't know. And, of course, if they don't get hit with it, you're going to hear tomorrow and the next day, well, wait a minute, you sent out this panic. But when you look at when you look at how strong this earthquake is, you've got to do that because you don't know. You don't know how bad it's going to be. And when you look at some of the buoys talking about the displacement, even in deep water, you're like, okay, you got to evacuate.
And you also look at the threat of more earthquakes here because there have been dozens of earthquakes in the same region off the southeast coast of Russia where this 8.8 hit last evening. And 2 of those earthquakes, one was at 6.9. This was within an hour, that first 8.8. And then another one after that, not long after that in that region, 6.3. Those are large earthquakes. An 8.8 is a monster earthquake, but a 6.9 and a 6.3 magnitude are also very dangerous. And so that's why I think authorities are looking at this saying, this activity is ongoing. So, again, you need to heed the warnings while they're in place, and these alerts are especially important, and things may change on the fly. And when they happen in the middle of the night, that's, I guess, as you mentioned, it being dark and not being able to see, they rely on the data coming across for the size of the waves and that activity there in terms of any organization or local officials. And then, of course, they also rely on the alert system. So you just want to make sure that you're alert throughout this. Seek higher ground. In parts of California, they're asking anyone, if you're living on a boat, then you should evacuate and seek lodging on higher ground until the threat is passed completely. So, following this throughout the morning hours here, in the next few minutes, they expect the first effects of any waves there on the West Coast to start hitting. And we'll certainly let you know what those effects are as news comes in. But getting regular updates here on this tsunami set of tsunami advisories, all within the Pacific and within the range of this effect of the earthquake, which was an 8.8 magnitude earthquake off the southeast coast of Russia yesterday evening, triggering all this, Japan, Alaska, Hawaii, and the U.S. West Coast.
All right, I see that the video that I had seen in Russia that had said they were given a warning, or they were told they didn't need to evacuate. That's on the front page now of Fox News. That the video that I had seen earlier is a still picture, but you can see where it has come inland.
Yeah,
at that point in Russia. So, okay, that's. You see if there's any update there. Just the general warning that they have. The Russian earthquake, the strongest in the world in the last 14 years. Let me see, it was 8.8 on. Hit at a preliminary magnitude of 8.0. Japan and U.S. seismologists said before. The U.S. Geological Survey later updated the measurement to 8.8. The earthquake appears to be the strongest anywhere in the world since the March 2011 9.0 magnitude earthquake off northeast Japan that caused that massive tsunami that set down. Remember, not just the horrible tsunami going through the streets, but the meltdown of the nuclear power plant. Remember that one?
Right.
Yeah. Only a few earthquakes measured around the world have been stronger. They say probably one of the top in the last 100 years, one of the strongest earthquakes. And they do go through updates, don't they? On that, I've seen it in earthquakes where it'll be 8.8, then the next day they'll say, well, we're revising it. It was either higher or lower. But no, there's a problem. I'm reading this from 10 minutes ago. The Oregon Department of Emergency Management said small tsunami waves with heights between 1 and 2 feet were expected to reach parts of the state's coastline late Thursday night. The waves are expected to reach the state starting around 11:40 p.m. Local. That's right now. Because we're on Central Time.
Right.
11:40 p.m. local time. The department wrote on Facebook, Oregon is under a tsunami advisory along with much of the U.S. West Coast, including Washington State and California. People are urged to stay away from beaches, harbors, and marinas and to remain in a safe space from the coast until the tsunami advisory is lifted. This is not a major tsunami, the department wrote. This is Oregon now. This is not a major tsunami, but dangerous currents and strong waves may pose a risk to those near the water. So that's what we have.
All right.
And we shall keep you updated. That's good news for Oregon.
Right.
One thing we really didn't cover a lot, and we'll keep you updated on the tsunami situation, but want to cover the other topics out there. One thing we really never got a chance to talk about yet, the Cincinnati video, the brawl.
Oh, my gosh.
Where only one person called 911.
Out of it, of all the people recording it on their phones, one person calls 911.
I know.
I don't get that. I don't understand how 911 wasn't flooded with calls.
5 suspects have been charged after the fight in the streets of downtown Cincinnati on Friday that left 2 people injured. Cincinnati chief of police said Monday that 5 individuals had been charged but did not release their identities. Fox News reported, noting officials are working on identifying several more people regarding the case. The police chief said only one person out of 100 at the scene called police for help. Adding that was unacceptable behavior because numerous people saw what was happening. You saw she was initially criticized for one of the statements about, the social media showing the video.
Yeah.
By the way, that's a dumb argument to ever bring up because there's nothing you can do to control something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things about today's world. People can do a live stream on anything, as grotesque as it may be. It's impossible for them to catch that kind of stuff at the beginning, at the very beginning. And then stuff goes viral. People do screenshots or captures, and next thing you know, there's video everywhere. But how in the world do you get through a situation like that and only one person with all of those phones recording, only one person calls 911?
I don't know.
That's just madness.
Yeah.
Just
You
madness.
just don't. My experiences and things I've seen before is most people in emergencies, whatever, tend to help.
Mm.
I'm always pretty amazed.
Yeah.
When I've seen, and I'm not talking about a fight like this, because when a fight like this happens and there's a few people involved in it, and you don't know, you're looking at everybody's drunk, because and I say everybody was drunk because she said alcohol was a factor in it. I don't know whether the victims were or not, but sometimes it gets to be so much mayhem. You're like, I can't get involved in this. Call police, but
Yeah, that's what 911 is for.
Right, exactly. So when you have a brawl going, whether you get involved yourself depends on the situation. If it's one person attacking another one, yeah, I'd be in there to help. If it's a mass of 100 people fighting, you don't know who's who.
Right.
You don't know what's going on. But you call the police at that particular point. And that's really the amazing thing, that of 100 people there, one call to 911. That's the thing that really, I think, has made this story go viral, and also because of the scenes. When you look at it and you see the video of it, it's like it's horrific.
Yeah,
what's going on? But
it really is.
Now the U.S. Department of Justice is suggesting that hate crime charges could be forthcoming. In a statement to the White House, or in a statement to the outlet, to Fox, White House spokesperson Harrison Field said, engaging in this level of barbaric violence is unacceptable, and those responsible must face the full weight of the justice system. Restoring safety to America's communities is a cornerstone of the president's Make America Safe Again agenda. As a result, we've seen crime levels plummet under President Trump's leadership, and the typical thing, defending the administration for what they have done to reduce crime. So, yeah, I wonder what the charges are going to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Assault. Was it a hate crime? I guess they're saying it's a hate crime because the victims in the video were white, right?
Yeah,
and the perpetrators apparently not white.
Right.
Again, we'll see what happens in that particular case, but that's the thing. It's like, I remember when I lived in Oregon, and there was these two kids, and apparently they were above board and everything else, but they started going out and robbing stores. And they would take their guns and say, if you don't do what we tell you, we're going to count down right now, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, scare the daylights out of these people. Well, these were kids, I believe they were seniors in high school, and they were bragging about it to everybody. Nobody called police. I'll never forget that when I lived in Oregon. I think this happened probably around 97.
Yeah, bizarre.
And they were terrorizing. They didn't kill anybody, but they were pointing the gun and counting down as if they were going to execute them. And then they were bragging to all their fellow students. Nobody blew them in. Not one person.
Wow.
Never forget that. You're like, how can't you? And I remember one said, we're not the police. That's not our job.
Yeah.
They were blunt on
People
it.
think that way.
That goes back, 28? Yeah, 28 years ago? Just bizarre. 866-98 Red Eye.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. A 4-foot tsunami wave has hit Hawaii's coastline, striking the north shore of Hawaii's Oahu Island, according to data from NOAA. They said we'll likely see water levels rise and fall as more waves approach.
In Maui, a tsunami wave over 5 feet, 5 foot, was seen there, and officials are saying, this will be basically a pulse of waves, a set of waves. So telling officials they're not, or telling locals they're not to become complacent and to stay on higher ground until the threat of the tsunamis is over. We'll follow this story throughout the morning.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America. We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You want to feel old? Animal House was released 47 years ago yesterday. And I know that because Stephen Bishop posted it.
Yeah.
The musician.
Right.
Who was on the stairwell when Belushi smashed his guitar.
Yeah.
So there you go. You feel old now? 47 years ago.
Yeah, and 50 years for Jaws.
Yeah?
I paid 35 cents to go see Jaws.
I never saw it in the movie theater.
Yeah. They showed it on the base theater. I think we had discounted prices. We lived on base and Laughlin Air Force Base. And I just remember it was the first horror movie that I guess my parents let me see, and it wasn't really a horror movie. But the opening sequence was pretty scary for, a 9-year-old kid,
A young
10-year-old kid.
The young whippersnapper that you were.
And I just remember going, oh my gosh, I'm never taking a bath again. I'm not getting any water at all, ever. Yeah, it was that was crazy. But I remember just the tone of the movie, and it will always be that big for me because I did see it on a big screen, and that was crazy. Now, the first horror movie that I watched without permission, The Exorcist.
Ooh.
So my brother had a tiny little black and white TV. in the room that we shared, and he was gone, and it was showing on cable. I think it was called Fanfare back before it was Showtime. And I saw that it was coming on, and I pretended I was going to go to sleep. And then I turned it on to watch it. It was a black and white TV watching The Exorcist in the dark on this tiny black and white TV. One of the scariest moments of my life until I started covering politics. It was just frightening. I just remember going, because if you grow up in a Christian household, it's like, oh my gosh, this stuff is real. This isn't like Star Wars. This is real. And very scary. But yeah, Jaws, 50 years ago. And the second one was okay. It was, it's good. But the first one is, the scenes are, you can't recapture that kind of magic.
Well, the second one, the majority of that was filmed at Navarre Beach, where I used to live.
Yeah,
in Florida, they filmed them at the first sequence at the hotel where the party's going on. I think that's the old Holidome on Navarre Beach. That's when nothing was there, and I lived there. 83, the summer 83, 84, and I remember going into that just because I knew, because Jaws 2 was 78, and then I remember with the bar scene when they're all gathered at the bar was the old Hog's Breast Saloon in Fort Walton Beach. We used to hang out there all the time, and I see the old bar, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I had a couple of friends work there, and so I always just like Jaws 2 because I was in the places where it actually took place, and there was nothing. I mean, Navarre Beach, there was nothing there back then. Now you've got condos and everything.
Yeah, it's perfect for making movies. When you've got so much open area.
Yeah, it was. And so I remember, and I'm going back there in September. I haven't been back since '88. So I'm going back for a couple of days. But now it's not probably if you're a native of Navarre, Florida, you're saying, yeah, it's overdeveloped because it went from, 2,000 people when I was there to probably, 30,000, 40,000. Like anything, though, they're limited in their development because of Eglin Air Force Base being right there.
Yeah.
But, so, and I was thinking, I'm going to be there. And I thought to myself, do tsunamis ever happen in the Gulf? We know you get the hurricanes and all that, but the latest on the tsunami situation here, Hawaii is now experiencing this from CNN. Several large tsunami waves, including some over 5 feet. The governor, Josh Green, said, so far we have not seen a wave of consequence, which is a great relief to us. He added that no damage had been reported so far, and there hasn't been any wave activity traveling past Hawaii's Big Island. We expect to be about 2 to 3 hours at least until we can call all clear. So far, though, the moment, so good. At the moment, so far, so good. We don't want anybody to let their guard down. We want to go another couple of hours as the waves cycle smaller and smaller. That's how we'll know that we're ending this concern. There have been no reports of power loss, and the state does not plan to shut off power in advance. While airports have not been impacted by the waves, all flights in and out of Maui are canceled for the night, leaving about 200 people sheltering at the terminal. He urged residents to stay off the road and to avoid calling 911 unless needed to keep the lines open for emergencies. Everything has been okay so far. We haven't seen a big wave, but when the water receded, we saw some boats laying on dry rock and sand, and that gave us pause. That doesn't happen for no reason, referring to the receding shore seen earlier on Oahu that signifies a large tsunami wave was approaching. Coast Guard added that they have closed all commercial harbors and pre-deployed ships and planes that will be ready to respond once the full tsunami impact hits.
In Japan, a 4.3-foot high wave hit the northeast shore of Japan, and this according to their officials there, and they're saying the tsunami waves are growing. So again, they're asking everybody to stay sheltered, get to higher ground, but stay there until this threat has passed. And we'll be following this throughout the hour or throughout the morning hours as more information coming in. I have not seen any new updates from the U.S. West Coast, as it was expected that some of the first effects would be felt within the last half hour. I did see LAPD in a helicopter. There was a video someone posted. They were circling over a harbor that had a lot of boats. There was clearly it was in a marina, but they were using a loudspeaker, warning everybody and telling them to get to higher ground. That came across in the last half hour. And but other than that, no updates from the West Coast. But we are certainly watching this throughout the morning hours. An 8.8 magnitude earthquake hitting last night off the coast, the southeast coast of Russia. And since then, dozens of earthquakes in that same region, none reaching 8.8, but two within an hour of that 8.8 magnitude reached, one reaching 6.9 and one reaching 6.3 magnitude, both of those within the hour of that first 8.8. And that's why authorities are saying the tsunami effect could last for a while. In Hawaii, the governor there, also saying they're hoping that the threat will pass over the next few hours. And I don't see anything else from that in terms of an update for Hawaii. But officials in other locations saying, you need to heed the warnings for now until we know for sure that this threat has passed. But an 8.8 earthquake is massive. And seeing some of the video of the tsunami flooding in eastern Russia after that earthquake, that is wild. It is Fox News has a video that they posted just a little while ago, and it is wow. It looks incredible. I don't know again when we'll start seeing if any updates come across from on the West Coast. We'll certainly bring those to you, but I don't know. It's impossible to know when we'll start seeing the all clear from any of the officials in any of the locales. So you've got Hawaii that's affected by this. You've got Japan, Alaska, the U.S. West Coast.
Philippines reporting waves of 3 feet reaching could hit. And the biggest we've seen yet in Hawaii is 5 feet, right?
Right. Yeah, over 5 feet. And so, again, they're in Hawaii. That, again, is of great concern. And also in Japan, officials there are saying the tsunami waves are growing. But we have, we'll bring you the latest as we get it, and don't know when to expect the all clear on this situation.
Yeah, how long can it go on for? Like they worry sometimes for like a day, don't they?
Well,
depending on what it is.
That's what in Japan. That's what officials are telling locals, that this could last for the day. So don't return to the shore until that threat is passed. So we'll see. And again, I think it also depends on whether there's another earthquake that's even close. And it's been dozens of earthquakes that have happened since the 8.8 in that same region off the southeast coast of Russia. Most of them are not above 6.0, but two of them were. 6.9 and a 6.3, both of those happening within an hour of that 8.8. But you look at the others, and they're 5.4, 5.7 in that range, and smaller, and nothing reaching a 6.0 or greater since that first hour after the 8.8. So I guess that would be, again, the concern. So we'll certainly bring you the latest as we get it.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I don't know if I'm looking at the same video that you were looking at before. I just when we were coming on, I saw it. The Bloomberg TV has it, and it's Russia. And
Yeah.
it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some water really going through the streets. I mean, that's really dangerous.
Right. Yeah.
What's happening there? And then they have the one of Japan where it's hitting the break wall, but
Right.
that one we've seen already, and that doesn't look like anything goes beyond the break wall.
Right. Right.
There. But again, we'll keep you updated throughout the morning here on the, excuse me, I've got the hiccups on the tsunami. Let me see if there's anything here. All right, the tsunami warning for Alaska's western Aleutian Islands has been downgraded to an advisory. The tsunami advisory now extends along the Aleutian Island chain and Alaska Peninsula, where the tsunami waves are not expected to exceed 1.5 feet. And again, the other thing is the Hawaii governor saying everything so far is okay. The biggest wave they've seen, 5 feet so far.
Yeah. Just a reminder, and officials have mentioned this, but it bears repeating, the currents can be very strong. Even if the waves aren't huge, the currents can be very, very strong. So you just want to stay off the water, stay on high ground until the all clear is given.
Well, you look at, we had talked about Malcolm Jamal Warner and how he died in the rip current, and those currents don't bring you down. It's not like they pull you down.
Right.
It's just they can pull you away from shore. But are they survivable? Yeah, they are. But the fact is, if you don't know how to do it, but you talk about a tsunami, you have a 3-foot tsunami wave, and you're in there in the water. You don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Yeah.
At one point, I would stay out. Some of the surfers are crazy. I mean, to do that, you have got to be crazy. This in here, and a lot of people talking about it on social media. CNN, Oprah Winfrey has opened her private road in Maui to aid residents evacuating tsunami alerts. As soon as we heard the tsunami warnings, we contacted law enforcement and FEMA to ensure the road was open, her spokesperson told CNN.
Yeah.
That was all over social media. It really didn't hit any type of legitimate news agency for a while. That was driven by social media.
Right. Saying that she had not opened the roads.
Right. That she was refusing to do it.
Right.
And they're claiming, no, she never refused to do it. Local law enforcement currently on site helping residents through 50 cars at a time to ensure everyone's safety. The road will remain open as long as necessary. A wave of over 5 feet was reported on the north central shore of Maui, and a tsunami warning is still in effect for the whole state of Hawaii. But again, the governor was saying that so far there's no damage, everything is okay, but still be careful.
Yep.
Because you don't know what's going to hit. You don't know what's going to hit afterwards. So,
Right.
be interesting to see in the later on. I mean, what type of damage Russia actually saw because of it.
Yeah, there's some video coming out of Russia, people recording during the earthquake itself, which is very scary. I've been in a very small, very quick earthquake, but nothing, most people, in fact, haven't been through an 8.8. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. So, again, we'll follow this throughout the morning hours if any new information comes across. And following at USGS, the number of earthquakes in that region, again, dozens and dozens of earthquakes following that 8.8, but nothing measuring up to that 8.8 since about the first hour afterward, where a couple reached, one reached 6.3 magnitude, another 6.9, but that was within an hour or so of that first 8.8. But that will continue. And experts saying they knew that there was likely going to be a big one at some point. Of course, earthquakes are unpredictable, but they knew there would be some movement in that region at some point. And here we are, 8.8. One of the strongest earthquakes in years.
They say it could be one of the top 10 of all time ever recorded.
Yeah.
Hawaii's North Shore probably will see some flooding. Latest report from update from CNN. As tsunami waves arrive in the state. That's the North Shore. While waves may be smaller on the U.S. West Coast, said Young Wee, a senior research scientist for the University of Washington and NOAA's Pacific Marine Environmental Laboratory, said we caution people to be alert and stay away from the beach.
Yeah.
So.
On our website, RedEyeRadioShow.com. Show info with stations, podcasts, and more. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. We'll keep you updated on any of the waves or impacts from the tsunami after the 8.8 earthquake there off the coast of Russia. Other news stories out there. A majority oppose local authorities or sanctuary cities attempting to block the deportations of criminal illegal immigrants, a recent Harvard-Harris survey revealed. The survey, taken July 6th through the 8th, asked respondents if they favor or oppose allowing some cities and towns to block the deportation of convicted criminals. Overall, 65% said they oppose localities blocking the deportation of convicted criminals, compared to 35% who support it. Notably, a majority across party lines, 72% of Republicans, 69% of independents, and 52% of Democrats oppose localities having this power, but understand 48% of Democrats support protecting illegal immigrants that have committed other crimes besides being in the country illegally.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
48%. That's almost a quarter.
That's more than half.
But that means in those cities that are sanctuary cities, what are the numbers? I bet you it's a majority.
I bet it's much higher. Yeah.
Was I having the discussion here on the air with somebody else about the whole Mandami thing, where I said, look, the whole defund the police thing, everything else, you think that matters to the Democrats that live in these liberal cities? They don't give a damn. They don't care.
No.
They don't care if if illegal immigrants with criminal records roam the street, they care about the freedom. We've said this before. They care about the freedom of criminal, illegal immigrants more than they do the law-abiding citizens of the United States.
Oh, yeah.
So when we say that, it's not like, oh, you guys are just making this stuff. No, it's true. By the way, Harvard-Harris poll, not viewed at all as a Republican or a conservative polling outlet. No. But if you go to these Democrat states, because 49% of Democrats or 48% of Democrats overall favor it, how many in California favor it in a majority Democrat state? I bet you it's more. I bet you it's a majority.
I bet it's easily a majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The survey also asked if state and local police should cooperate with Immigration and Customs police or not cooperate with them. And across the board, 70% said they should cooperate. Just 30% said they should not. A whopping 91% of Republicans agree they should cooperate. 66% of independents and 51% of Democrats, 49% of Democrats said they should not cooperate. You got to go state by state on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's how these areas, how these states and cities and counties not only achieve sanctuary policy, but maintain it. I mean, you can't do that without the majority of people supporting it.
Yeah. Think about it. People actually endorse and are for not just criminals roaming the street, but criminal illegal immigrants on the streets. They're okay with it. Mm-hmm. They don't give a damn about the law-abiding citizens of the United States.
Nope.
They want chaos. They want crime. Mm-hmm. By the way, tell me where I'm wrong in any way based on the polling that we have just read to you. If you believe that criminal illegal aliens should be able to roam the streets and not be kicked out of your city, then you're pro-crime.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind that these criminals, they thrive on being able to come and go under the radar. They can commit a crime here in the U.S. and then go back to their country of origin. That quite often is the case. It's not like all of them are going to be in a database. In fact, most of them are not. They're not known. They're not seen. They're under the radar, and the left is fighting for their rights, not for your safety.
Yeah.
Because the rank and file want it that way.
Yeah. And you go to these states, you go to these big blue states and check with those Democrats. Mm-hmm. You may go to Midwestern states or Southern states where people are Democrats and they don't favor sanctuary cities, but go to the liberal states. Do the polling there. I bet you it's a majority, and I bet you it's probably 60 to 65% of Democrats in those states that believe that criminals and criminal illegal immigrants should roam the streets of their cities, mm-hmm. as long as they don't come to their gated communities.
Right.
It really is amazing. It just, you shake your head. Understand how radical. Eric and I have said this before, and we said it when, when we celebrated our 20th anniversary and looked back, and we always find it interesting when people that oppose us will say, "You guys are just radicals," and we go, "Where?"
Yeah, where?
Give me one issue that we stand on that's radical in the slightest.
Right.
You want radical positions. I hate that I have to explain this, a radical position is criminals and criminal illegal immigrants should roam free in our city.
Yeah.
And I believe that's a reasonable position to hold.
Yeah.
But understand the amount of propaganda and brainwashing that the Democrats have succeeded on.
Mm-hmm.
They've succeeded on it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reading the story about, and we talked about it yesterday, Pete Buttigieg trying to moderate. You know, he's holding a controversial opinion within the Democratic Party right now. He came out and acknowledged the fairness issue in the radical transgender movement debate. Around sports, I think most reasonable people would recognize that there's a serious fairness issue if you just treat this as not mattering when a trans athlete wants to compete in women's sports. Okay, so is he going to go all the way and say that a man can't be a woman? No, he can't go there. But he agreed that parents who are upset that their daughters have to compete against males have a case. But he said politicians should not be dictating policy to determine whether males can compete in women's and girls' sports. As we said yesterday, he's trying to parse this line in there.
Yeah,
it's not going to work. You're not going to appease either side on this, Pete.
Nope. No, you're not.
And that's why I think the decision should be in the hands of the sports leagues and school boards and not politicians in Washington trying to use this as a political pawn. What the hell are you talking about? A political pawn.
It's a very serious issue.
Well, it came from Title IX that had huge Democrat support that protected women on the federal level.
And if these leagues or schools are violating Title IX,
right,
that's where the federal government should get involved.
Right. See, misogynists will try to take a position that will appease the moderates, but the reality is does nothing because they don't believe that there should actually be an enforcement mechanism.
Right. Yeah. It's and also it's the, look, we just want to keep this quiet. Keep it on the local level so it doesn't become a massive issue like it is and should be.
Right, because it becomes a massive issue once the federal government gets involved
exactly.
in it, as we all know.
Yep. And that's, that's the play here. Oh, no. We'll just keep it at the local level. We won't. Let's not have everybody involved in the conversation. This started years ago. It was bound to reach this level, and it's a good thing that it did. It's a good thing that it did. This was a main driver on women's issues. This was a greater driver in the election of 2024 than abortion was.
More than 4 in 10 women familiar with Title IX says it's not gone. This is from 2022. Said it's not gone far enough when it comes to increasing opportunities for women in sports. Democrats and leaning Democrats, 75% say Title IX has had a positive impact. They agree with Title IX, but Title IX to them means men playing women's sports. God, none of it makes sense. It's just, you shake your head. Like, do they realize, does the left side of their brain realize what the right side of their brain is saying?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they listen to themselves. There's no self-awareness on this. Because you're desperate to get this thing toned down. You really want this conversation to go away if you're on the left. You're not, because you're not winning.
Buttigieg. Well, yeah, I think it's wrong and something needs to be done about it, but forget about Title IX.
Yeah, right. Just ignore it.
Forget about women's rights.
Right.
Well, Pete, you're taking the misogynist opinion as a politician.
Right.
I think there's a fairness issue, but we shouldn't make a big deal of it.
Right, yeah.
And Title IX that, the vast majority of Democrats supported, which protected women in sports, shouldn't exist if it's not going to agree with how we wish to change Title IX to include men in women's sports.
Yeah.
God, they're pitiful. They really
are.
Really
and
are
they're
pitiful.
desperate to make this go away.
I know. 866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Coming up following the top of the hour, we'll have the latest on the tsunamis across the, I guess it would be tsunamis because one earthquake, but multiple tsunamis, and have the latest on how they're affecting different countries. Is it still the same? I'm just looking here, trying to update from CNN or Fox News if they have the latest on if there's been more than a 5-foot wave that has hit Hawaii.
I believe that is the latest, and that would be the coast of Maui experiencing waves just over 5 feet.
Yeah, that was the last that I saw. And everything else is just sort of what has happened, not what is happening right now.
Right.
So we will keep you updated.
Officials in Japan saying they expect that the waves are growing, but nobody is, of course, able to say at this point how long the waves will last. This is a pulse of waves, and again, it's unknown when the all clear will be given. But in Hawaii, officials there are saying they're hopeful in the next few hours they'll be able to give the all clear, but still unknown.
This earthquake is an 8.8 right now. So it's been judged the 6th. It would be the 6th largest earthquake in recorded history.
Yeah.
The one in South America, 9.5 in 1960, and the Great Alaska earthquake in 1964. Man, I remember that one. And some of the scenes from that one, streets just torn right up.
Yeah.
So this is the 6th most powerful, which is why they were worried.
Yeah.
And probably still are worried.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America. We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning, as always. You know, looking here, this is really an interesting story. The Crescent City, California, the small city in Northern California, turned on its tsunami sirens late last night to warn the population following the 8.8 magnitude earthquake off Russia's coast. Right now, that 8.8 magnitude earthquake, the 6th worst earthquake in recorded earthquake history. You are hearing in Crescent City, in California. They wrote on Facebook, City Hall, you are hearing a tsunami siren. We are under a tsunami warning. Please stay away from beaches and waterways. The predicted wave may hit about 11:55 p.m. We are waiting on additional information about any level of evacuation, City Hall wrote on Facebook. Now, you may wonder, because we've talked about, what has hit Hawaii so far, and the last we have was the highest wave was 5 feet. It seems as if you've had, I don't have anything official yet in Russia, that you've had higher ones in higher waves in parts of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I saw just now just a foot at Guam.
Right.
But you may be wondering about Crescent City, and you say, well, has it been predicted? It hasn't been predicted. I mean, what are they talking about? Maybe 3 feet, whatever. Do you know Crescent City completely destroyed in the Alaska earthquake in 1964? The tsunami that hit them, according to Associated Press, you know what the wave was? And this is why there's a concern. There's always a concern, even if, everybody wakes up in the morning and then throughout tomorrow and says, well, the predictions and the warnings were too exaggerated. Well, the thing is, you don't know. 21 feet was the wave that hit Crescent City, California, which is just south of the Oregon border on the coast.
Yeah.
21 feet, and it wasn't the first or second wave. It was the third and fourth wave that did all the damage.
Mm-hmm. In Japan, officials are saying that the waves there are growing. Again, it's impossible to predict to what extent, and also to predict when it might be over. And that's why they're telling officials, or officials are telling locals in Japan, this could last the whole day. So we don't know. According to the National Weather Service in Los Angeles, just a few minutes ago, the tsunami has reached the California coast and is showing up in the Arena Cove, California tide gauge, and making its way down the coast right now. They're following that. Again, they're on the West Coast. And it may, again, turn out that these waves are not especially damaging. But you certainly do not want to be on the coastline at this point, as the threat still does exist.
Yeah, just looking across the board, across the world, in Russia, the southern part of Russia that was hit, a state of emergency was issued after the tsunami waves hit the coast, tearing boats from their moorings and carrying away storage containers, according to state media and videos from the scene. We've seen some video in a small town, it looks like, where it was rushing. The water was actually rushing through the streets. In Japan, more than 1.9 million people were told to evacuate as waves hit much of the northern and eastern coast. Video shared by Reuters and other news agencies showed people sheltering on roofs as the waves hit. But Japan so far has avoided any major damage. Tsunami waves of up to 5 feet have hit Hawaii. Emergency shelters have opened, and Honolulu residents have been told to seek higher ground. The governor warned that waves will wrap around the islands, but the governor also said that there has been very little, if no damage, from what they have seen so far. And Eric just filled you in on the California situation. California has the biggest coastal population in the U.S., with almost 27 million people residing in counties near the Pacific Ocean. Philippines, Indonesia, China, Peru, Mexico, Panama, Taiwan also have issued tsunami advisories, warnings, and watches, which is what we have here at the moment. CNN reporting the first tsunami waves seen in California. They begin seen with the elevated water levels in Crescent City that we just mentioned near the Oregon border. A wave of 1 foot has been observed, according to the data from the National Weather Service. This is the area that you talked about earlier that's heightened, has a heightened tsunami risk because its unique underwater geography has the ability to funnel wave energy, according to the National Weather Service. The rest of the U.S. West Coast is under the tsunami advisory. And Crescent City, as we told you, that's the one that got hit in 1964 with a 21-foot wave. I believe 11 people were killed. It destroyed most of the downtown area. It was, that was a huge wave that hit them back then. So you can understand why when they saw it was an 8.8, they had the tsunami sirens going.
Yeah. Again, we'll follow this throughout the morning hours, as they mentioned there in the advisory from the National Weather Service, Los Angeles, that on the West Coast there and in California specifically, that the tsunami has already reached the California coast, and it is making its way down the coast right now. So as other reports come in, we'll bring them to you.
Yeah, so the sixth most powerful earthquake.
Yeah, 8.8.
Right. Then a 1952 one is the fifth most powerful in Russia back in 1952. Then in 2011, that earthquake that caused that massive tsunami, that was a 9.1. That was in Japan. The Sumatra one that we all remember, the wave hitting Indonesia, being like that resort beach.
Yeah.
And remember, people were playful and everything else, and all of a sudden they realized what was going on, and they were terrified. Was it 200? That in 2004? Think about it. In 2004, you still had almost 230,000 people that were killed in that tsunami because of that earthquake. Then the second most powerful earthquake in recorded history was the Great Alaska Earthquake, and that was a 9.2. The most powerful in recorded history, 9.5, 1960 in very much Chile in South America. May 22nd, 1960, a 9.5. My God, that must have been absolutely terrifying.
Wow.
Just going through here. Anything else? Yeah, so, and they're looking at the 8.5 and above. So you have okay. You got about 20 earthquakes in recorded history, roughly 8.5 or above.
Yeah.
But jeez, wow.
Yeah. Pretty massive, and a series of earthquakes in that same region off the southeast corner of or coast rather of Russia. A couple dozen earthquakes within the first hour. A 6.9 and a 6.3 followed that 8.8, but most have been well below that range since then. But you've had a few dozen since then. Just looking at USGS map, a very active region.
Hawaiian Airlines has resumed operations as airports across Hawaii reopen. Alaska Airlines set to restart flights on Wednesday morning. The temporary suspension of flights prompted, of course, by the tsunami warning for all Hawaii coastlines. A lot of their airports are pretty low level. Even Honolulu is.
Yeah.
Ever flown in there? It's it's not. You get something like a 3 meter, 4 meter wave, and that could affect the airport.
Sure.
Hawaiian Airlines is safely resuming flight operations this evening as airports reopen. Alaska Airlines will resume operations tomorrow, said the regional communications director in a statement to CNN. Guests would travel to, from, or within the Hawaiian Islands should continue to check the status of their flight. Hawaii Governor Josh Green earlier said all flights in and out of Maui were canceled on Tuesday night, leaving about 200 people sheltering at the terminal. But I've seen nothing. There's been really no update at all that I've seen yet from Hawaii, which you would then assume means that nothing has gotten worse than it was.
Right.
And the biggest reported wave, there were 3-foot waves, around Honolulu, and I think it was Maui that saw a 5-foot wave.
Right.
I believe it was the northern shore of Maui, but as the governor said, really has caused no damage, has not been a concern at this particular point. But we just hope everything is good, and we hope the people in Crescent City, just because of the unique geological formation under the water there, that saw that horrendous 21-foot wave back in the Alaska earthquake in 1964. We hope everything is fine, and good there. But just wanted to give you an update, the latest on the tsunami, and a whole bunch more stuff coming up, including there was an article yesterday. Moving on to other topics, Wall Street Journal, AI disrupts entry-level job markets for college grads, threatening the traditional career paths. They're saying they're seeing it already. Now, if you're an engineer, if you've got a college degree, if you're an engineer and you can find a job.
Right.
But the low-level, this is where AI, as we've talked about before, is going to affect the low-level jobs. And a really interesting article in the Wall Street Journal about that we will get to, and a whole bunch more. 866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. According to the Wall Street Journal, the rise of AI is reshaping the job market for recent college graduates as companies increasingly rely on AI to perform tasks once assigned to entry-level employees, leading to a potential long-term impact on the workforce. Wall Street Journal reports that the transition from college to workforce has always been challenging, but for the class of 2023 and beyond, AI is making that leap even steeper. Traditionally, entry-level jobs have served as a training ground for young professionals, offering them a chance to learn the ropes while handling the grunt work. Today, however, many of those tasks are being automated by AI tools like ChatGPT, leaving new graduates to compete for the shrinking pool of positions. According to data from the Burning Glass Institute, the share of graduates in the labor force with a bachelor's degree 1 year after graduation has dropped, deviating from historical patterns. The decline is not limited to a specific field. Majors ranging from visual arts to engineering are feeling the pinch. Unemployment among recent college grads is rising faster for those with only a high school diploma or an associate's degree. Wow. Which you would expect.
Yeah,
because if you look at the trades out there, we've talked about it. We've looked at the trades out there. It's
well, those are jobs that's going to be impossible to replace with AI. There's a ton of those jobs. You're going to need humans doing those jobs for a very long time, and also building out the infrastructure that it's going to take to keep building out AI. But you look at the mismatch here, the skills, experience, training, and education mismatch could go on for quite some time because AI is advancing at an accelerated pace, and it accelerates every day. So you go in as a freshman into college, by the time 4 years in the AI world, there's no telling what AI will be able to do in 4 years. No telling. So if you're just starting your college degree and it's, I don't know, based on anything, even in the tech world, it could be a completely obsolete by the time you get halfway through college. And I don't know that there's any way to really predict what the jobs demand is going to look like. So I don't know how you prevent that for a significant number of college graduates over the next several years. It's definitely going to be an interesting because again, if you're talking about a field where AI can't replace the humans, well, that's one thing. Those are trades, and also, you get your mind set on something as a young person, as adolescents and their families discuss. All right, what's your career going to be? You start planning that out. You don't just do it. If you're planning on college, you don't just do it in a week. You're planning that out for some time. And then you get to the college level, and next thing you know, you graduate, and there's nothing there. There's nothing available for you based on your degree. The one thing is there will be jobs available, but you're going to have to be able to change on the fly. You're going to have to be able to adapt. If you don't have the ability to adapt in the marketplace for whatever that need is.
So what you're saying is my dad was right.
Yeah. Well,
you need to. My dad told me in 1969, I would have been 14 years old. He told me, he said, look, you're not going to be able to. He didn't. But it was at that time where, people could get good union jobs on the assembly line, and you could stay at a company, steel mill, for example, Bethlehem Steel, which is now really gone completely out of where I grew up. But you could get a job there and be there for your entire lifetime and then retire.
Yeah, our generation,
or the railroad or whatever,
grew up in that. Hey, and especially like we were in a small town, and you had big manufacturers in your small town. It was like, oh man, that's the job you get. You stayed there 30 years, you retire. You buy a boat, and that was kind of the thing. And for me, I saw the manufacturing changing about that time that I was really about to enter the workforce. And so I decided to get into something extremely stable like radio.
Same with
when
me.
I was 18.
My dad said to me, in case people have never heard it, most of you have because you've regurgitated it back to me many times. But he's the one that said you need to be good at 3 or 4 different things. And my father wasn't one that said college degree or trade. He said both.
Well,
but for college, he wanted me to be in engineering.
Right. And you have
trade
to be willing to adapt. And this generation, the youngest generation right now in the workforce, I don't know how willing they are.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Yeah, so when you see that with AI, now there are two things. We talk about the long term, and nobody has any idea. We don't know what it's going to be 2-3 years from now. We talk about if there was a long term impact from tariffs, and if that would be a drag on the economy. You look at, for example, things that would not be a drag on the economy. One of them was the deregulation for climate change issues that the president threw out yesterday, which would be huge. And two things that may really help the economy is deregulation, because as we said before, the tariff levels are not what the president was talking about 4 months ago.
Right.
And they're roughly about 1% of the entire GDP, the actual number on it. And so, as we've said, the tariff's ability to affect the economy is just like the minimum wage or salaries or whatever. It depends, how much you're taking from the economy because of it. Which by the way, I thought of something yesterday because the debate that tariffs don't lead to inflation because the only thing that leads to inflation is too much money being put into people's pockets, too much money chasing too few goods, like giving people large tax rebates.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, if tariffs don't cause inflation, does giving mass rebates and cash into people's pockets from those same tariffs, will they cause inflation?
Right.
Well, but look, it's a dumb argument. As we said before, I think it was Milton Friedman who said that any long-term inflation, which is long-term, which is what we saw, really serious inflation, 9%, really comes from too much money too much money chasing too few goods, and so much of the time that comes from Fed policy. But as we all know, any type of increase in the cost of doing business will cause one of three things, and or a combination of all of the above, which is less job growth, increase in prices, and unemployment.
Right.
And those are the concerns that you would have when you look at it long term. Short term, we just don't know. Now we've got numbers coming out this week. For example, we're Wednesday today. Yeah. The job openings. Last month, 7.7 million. This month they expected 7.5. It was 7.4. ADP employment, they're expecting 64,000. That's right. ADP. Mm-hmm. GDP comes out at 830. 2.3% is a median forecast right now. Now, that's the median forecast, I believe, from the Atlanta Fed, GDP now. The St. Louis Fed and Bloomberg, 1.4 and 1.5. If it's the high number of 2.5, that would be, if you look at that would still be just over, let me see, would that be, no, it'd be just under 1% GDP growth for the first half of this year, which, of course, is not what anybody wants. When you look at pending home sales, down drastically from last month, that's a concern.
Yeah.
That's the median forecast, by the way. I want to make that clear.
At 0.2 is the median forecast.
At 0.2, and it was 1.8% last month. That's a concern. Then tomorrow, we have initial jobless claims that will come out that is expected to be up. Again, they're wrong all the time on all these, but we're just throwing them out because they have them. The median forecast shows an increase in jobless claims of 5,000.
Yeah.
Personal income up 0.2%. It was negative 0.4% last month.
Yeah, the median forecast is for 0.2%.
Right. If you look at, let me just see.
One of the things that they looked at on home sales overall is that spring is typically the time of year when a lot of home sales happen. And it was a bust this year. Mm-hmm. And, they point to, of course, interest rates and everything else, and a number of people that are locked into low interest rates that don't want to move. They don't want to get into, they don't want to upgrade and go into another home and have a new mortgage at a higher level. So a lot are staying put. We'll see what the what the sales, pending home sales, looks like.
And then you've got a lot of numbers coming out. The U.S. employment report for July, and they expect the employment to be 100,000 this month. Mm-hmm. It was 147,000 last month. As we have stated, though, more than half of those jobs were state and local government employees, and It was out of the 147, I believe it was like 127,000 were state, local government, and healthcare, which again is affected by government spending. So when you look at private sector growth, that is a concern. The numbers I tend to look at, because you and I always look at GDP and say, since they really changed the way that they do it, and the movement of money, which may not actually be economic growth or not economic growth right now. We view that and say, okay, what do we really look at? One of the things I look at is the ISM manufacturing report. It was 49% at 49% last month, which means the manufacturing base last month contracted. For this month, it's expected to be 49.5%, which is still the manufacturing base, again, contracting. It's not growing. We know that in the last month, the last reading, 7,000 manufacturing jobs were actually lost. Another thing that's of a concern, construction spending would still be down. It was down 0.3% last month. Again, the projected median would be down 0.1% this month, but that would be contraction still going on in manufacturing and contraction still going on in construction. Those are things I think that concern.
Right.
Those are the things that concern, things like durable goods, all that. Those are things that we tend to look at. And again, we don't sit there and we don't criticize on a month-to-month basis because you can have fluctuations. You have to look at a significant, over significant period of time. And we know that both political parties will take a 1 month forecast and use that to say what we're doing is working. And as we've said before, not the smartest thing to do because you can get easily burned by 1 month numbers.
Yeah.
If you use that to set whether you're having incredible success or whether the opposition is having horrible success in whatever they're attempting to do. So it'll be interesting. Be interesting to see how they respond, to it. You saw that Josh Hawley. By the way, are you and I going to would we get a tariff check? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think
I'm not expecting one.
Yeah.
Not planning on it. Haven't priced that in just yet.
Yeah, I still, to me, it's amazing as, a conservative, somebody who has voted Republican exclusively, it is really interesting to watch the marketing of the tariffs. That to me is fascinating. And the promotion that, because I've never seen this before in my life from Republicans, promoting that taxes on Americans are a good thing and the more taxes on Americans are a better thing. And we know that the administration is trying to make the case. They're making it again that the foreign companies, they pay the tariffs and we just reap the benefits. And was it Peter Schiff you said yesterday who said this?
Yeah, that on the 200% tariff thing.
Yeah, that if it's not, that if it truly is, if you really believe that it's not a tax on consumers, then get rid of the income tax. We all want to get rid of the income tax. Get rid of the income tax, put a 200% tariff on everything that comes into the country, and then we've got it made in the shade. Nobody has to pay income tax, and all foreign governments and foreign companies pay our income tax for us.
Here's his post on X yesterday, Peter Schiff. If foreigners paid our tariffs, those would be the only taxes we'd have. After all, politicians don't lose votes by taxing foreigners. So why not repeal the income and payroll taxes and stick foreigners with 200% tariffs?
And by the way, he's using the roughly accurate number
Right.
of 200% that we
Right.
used, that we had figured out way back then. If you wanted to replace the income tax with tariffs, how much it would have to be on all manufactured goods.
Right. And of course, he ends it with, we can't do that because tariffs are an excise tax on consumers.
Of course they are. And that's where I don't like the BS coming from Republicans on this or the administration. It's pure BS. Of course they're paying it. Because if they wouldn't, you do exactly what Peter Schiff would say.
Yeah. There is an economic impact, and it's clear that the goal now is to find whatever that sweet spot is.
Laffer curve is where
something I've been calling the Laffer curve of tariffs, where you can do it and not cause too much impact, claim your victory, and whatever that victory might be. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what you do the victory on. If it's the revenue you're raising for the federal government, if it's, I don't know, bringing more manufacturing here or making it cheaper to buy imports. I don't know I have no idea because it's been all over the place.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't know what the purpose is. And I love it every week. I see the influencers saying, the experts were wrong. And we went, every day we go, on what? Who are the experts that are saying, for example, they said the experts were wrong. Look, we're bringing in $300 billion a year. What expert said you wouldn't bring in revenue by charging tariffs?
Right.
I don't know one.
Nope.
And so they're making crap up as they go along, including Howard Lutnick, who I think has a lot more credibility than other people in the administration, like Navarro, for example. Mm-hmm. And he's still throwing out pure horse manure at the American public.
Yep.
And so, that I don't like, but I do think they are worried about what these economic numbers are going to be, which is why they're throwing out the fact of the rebates.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a great concern.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But good for the president on regulations.
Oh.
And then there was something else, too, that he did that was great when it comes to economic growth.
Yeah.
So there's good and bad, but the regulation thing on the climate change stuff was just tremendous.
That's massive. If that is finalized, it's going to be huge.
Wall Street Journal agrees. Climate Regulation Liberation Day.
Yeah. Let's make that final.
So I agree with them. There was another one. I forgot what the other one was. There was something else, too.
Yeah.
But 866-98-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Yes, Dad told me, get college, a trade, a business, know how to sell, and then maybe something that you want to do. And you look at it, and he told me that back in 1969, and you look right now at the jobs that AI is taking, and, it's the trade stuff. And if you have a college degree, probably in engineering, you're going to have a lot, greater chance. And if you've got a degree in engineering and willing to get your hands dirty because you understand things like machining or whatever, even a better chance.
I think that's been the case for a while. I think the big shift now is that in the tech world, if you've been learning to code, AI is going to be doing the coding. So what then? If you've been spending all that money on a degree and training for that kind of job, and then all of a sudden that is gone. That's a huge shift.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.